Hey everybody, it's Ben here, and I got a question for you. Do you know how to negotiate like your life depended on it? You see, I just read this book called Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. And it's a really cool book because Chris was an FBI hostage negotiator for about 30 years, and he dealt with cartels, bank robbery, hostage situations, like terrorists, like all over the world too. It's an insane book, and the cool part is he was actually brought into top business schools in the states, like Wharton and Harvard, and all these schools with famous negotiation courses, and all these tactics and stuff that he learned. They couldn't beat him when it came to negotiating. So everything that he taught everything that he talks about in the book, sorry, is real. It's practical, and it translates to everything. It translates to business. It translates to selling. So I thought I'd make a quick little video here to kind of give you a framework in your heads if you're selling services. Or let's say you don't know how to get the best price you want. So I'm going to teach you how to negotiate, because remember, you don't get what you deserve, you get what you negotiate. All right, let's go. Now, first things first, when you're selling something, let's just say you're negotiating with your boss for your salary or a pay raise. If you are looking for, let's say you're making $50,000 now, and you want 80,000. So the first thing is, you don't start with the number you want, you give a range. So let's say I want to make, you tell your boss, I want maybe 50 to 80 is a big jump. So maybe you're making 60 now and you want to go to 80. You say, I want between 80,000 to 100,000. So what that does is it gives them a range, and they say, oh, I don't want to pay him 100 grand. So 80 seems like it's way better. Sorry, my throat's getting dry. So yeah, so that's the first part. You always give them a range, not a single price. And then he talks about the Ackerman model for bargaining. So he gives it in the example of buying something, but you can easily just flip it on its head when selling something too. So let's just say you're buying a car. You're buying a car from someone, and you want to pay $1,500. So you're a cheapskate like me, and you don't want to pay way too much. And they want, I don't know, maybe they want 2,000. So, or 25, whatever. It doesn't really matter. So the first thing you do is say, okay, my goal is to spend 1,500. So from there, you take his advice is to start your first offer. And there's rules, like there's kind of like old school rules about whoever makes the first offer loses in negotiation, and he kind of touches on that. And the answer is, like most things, it depends. But anyway, your first offer, I'm just going to do some quick math here because my brain's stupid. It should be at 65% of 1,500. So in this case, it would be 975, thanks to the handy dandy calculator here on my computer. So you say, okay, they say I want 2,000, and you say I'll give you 975. And then I'm just gonna read these tips off because I didn't memorize them. So the next thing you do is you calculate. By the way, you do all this before you get into a negotiation situation, because he tells you the preparation is everything for negotiating, because you fall to your highest. Oh, sorry, you don't, when you're under pressure, you don't rise to the occasion, you fall to the highest level of your preparation. So next thing you do is you calculate 3 raises of decreasing increments. So you start at 65%, and then you go to 85%, then 95%, and then 100%. And you see what he did here is, when you go to 65 to 85, that's a 20% raise. Then 85 to 95 is a 10% raise. And then 95 to 100 is a 5. So you're doubling basically how much your raises are. Does that make sense? My God, my brain's not working. I'm kind of sick. So to them, it seems like they're getting as much money out of you as possible. So just for the sake of this video, I'm just I'm not even going to mess around with the calculations here because I didn't I didn't prepare for this video. I'm an asshole. So the next thing is when you're doing these, when you give your counter offers, when you go 65 to 85, he gives you 4 ways to basically say no without saying no. First off, you start off with like, how am I supposed to do that? With it in the deferential tone, like, help me out here. Like, hey, how am I supposed to do that? Like, it's like, okay, I want to pay 2,000. They say 2,000. I say, hey, like, I could pay 975, and they say, no, you got to come up. And it's like, well, how am I supposed to do that? So you got to use a lot of empathy. This whole book is about tactical empathy, by the way. So you say, you got to come up and say, okay, what's 85% of 1,500? I'm not going to do it. It's like probably 1,200. And so then you go all the way up. So when the thing is, when you get to your final amount, instead of saying 1,500, which is my goal, use precise non-round numbers. And once again, he explains why to do this. I'm just telling you the quick and easy way to do it. So, okay, I can only pay you $1,493. That's it. And then, the reason is it gives you credibility and weight to that number. So, like, man, like, hopefully they're coming down too. They're giving you counter offers. And then your final number, they're like, you throw in like a non-monetary item that they probably don't want to show that you're at your limit. So maybe like, I'll pay you $1,493 plus I'll throw in free sandwiches for a month at Subway or something. I don't know, something like that. And that's basically the Ackerman model for buying, and then you could just flip it on its head for selling stuff if you're selling your services. So remember, always use a range and then calculate those increments. So 65, 85, 95, 100. Use a precise non-rounded number and throw in non-monetary items to show them that you're at your limit and you can't. They gotten all the money out of you that they can, and in their head, they'll think that they're really like, putting the screws to you, and they're really like a good negotiator, but like you're basically controlling them, which is kind of how negotiation. It's the art of letting other people have your way. I love that saying. And here's a little tip: if they're aggressive with their offers, with their prices, and they won't switch it up, what you do is to switch it up by talking about terms. So if I was selling a service and they don't want to pay, maybe want to sell some sales letters for $3,000, they don't want to pay that, they'll only pay $2,000, and they're sticking to that number. What I would do is start talking about terms. Like, say, like, in that case, how about, can I deliver it an extra week later? Or what about the refund policy, like, or something like that? Like, just switch it up. So a little bonus tip, which is something that kind of blew my mind when I read it, because coming from a sales and copywriting background, you always want to start off your conversations with yes answers. So especially ads, you want to get them like nodding their heads, basically. And what he said in this book is that that's actually backwards thinking. It's counterintuitive, but you want to start them off immediately with a no answer. So my example would be like, here's how I used to think about it. Say I was selling a glass of water. I'd call them up and say, hey, do you like water? Do you drink water? And they'd be like, yes, yes. And then the idea is like, yes, yes. They get the agreeance with you is when they're nodding their heads and saying, yeah, yeah, I would do that. But he says that getting people to say yes like that just off the bat makes them feel trapped, and like, that's like, people want to feel like they're in control. So make them say no right away. They actually tested this with telemarketing. They changed their script up. It was political fundraising or something like that. And just by getting them to say no instead of yes off the bat, they increased their conversions by 23% or something crazy. So instead of saying, hey, do you like drinking water? Like, do you drink water? I would say something like, do you like drinking dirty water? Or something like that. And they no. And then it's like, okay, well, do you like being sick from water? No. Okay, well, then in that case, you're going to have to buy my clean water. So, yeah, that's all for now. Definitely go check out this book. There's it's solid gold, and I don't have enough time, nor am I nor am I able to go over the whole thing in a few minutes here. So, all right, hopefully you learned something, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.